spring has sprung.
I know.
Speaking of spring, by the way, it was earlier. Me, and Johanna were doing like a wee nature walk, as they say, for a forest trail, and I came to the limits of the human bladder and had to go for a piss into some trees, as it were. And basically, I was standing taking a piss, and I just like looked ahead, and I saw like this orange like fluff, and there was just this random fox sleeping on a rock, like looking at me, looking direct at me like this, like like dogs do like that. It was just this fox. There was just this fox sleeping on a big rock. I was like, what the fuck? And I slowly got my phone out, and because I'd walked like a distance for Johanna and the Wayne to go and piss, and I phone Johanna, and like she answers like, what the fuck? And I'm whispering in the phone like, can you walk like 15 meters down the path, and you'll see me come quietly. And then she's like, what? I didn't say like why I was phoning. And then I look, and they're walking down this path, like they don't know where I'm in the forest. They see me, and then I'm like to me like, shh. I take her in my arms, and we slowly creep up to this fox that's just sitting there, basically sleeping. She was like, she was awestruck, and then we got pretty close, and then it only when we got too close, it just got up, jumped, and like walked to another rock and lay on that rock. And then we followed it a little bit, and then it was like, these had enough of these cunts. I'm gonna go find another rock, and it just kept on going. It was pretty cool. It was really. We insert a picture for the Patreons.
Oh yes, if you pay the money, you can see the picture. That's quite weird, because is it the same? The foxes here like are pure like vermin, like
No,
you see a fox in the wild here, and it's pure skin and bones, and it's like terrified, usually at night and stuff like that. But with the old lockdowns, you're seeing more. You're seeing foxes riding on the back of a deer and all that through the park on the way to
I think,
Asda.
I think it's like foxes are usually like kind of regarded as basically vermin and stuff, but it's like in urban areas, you know what I mean? Like, like urban, right next to people's tunes, and like if it's like restaurants or shops, these sorts of things. But here, like so much like forest area, so people don't look at foxes as like vermin here, and they're no like they don't rummage the trash and stuff like that. Plus, you don't get mentally ill people feeding them like McDonald's and shit like that. So there's that.
Aye. Well, it's funny because there's a couple of things you mentioned there. There was like trash and foxes, trash, and then like lunatics feeding them.
Mm.
I remember like, so the foxes here obviously like pure fucking hard to like come by, and they don't stop or anything like that. Like if that had been here, as you know, and the fox got a glimpse. Well, one, there's never a fox just sunbathing, right? That's just never happens here. But I remember I was coming back from like a night out or something like that. It was like 3 in the morning,
Mm.
3 in the morning or something like that. And I was going through the park, and there was this fox, and I was trying to get its attention, and I was like trying to like fucking have it follow me. And I remember try like lure it with food, and I ended up fucking like going into a bin. Going into a
What?
bin. I went into a bin, right? Sorry, went after my thoughts. I went into a bin, and I was trying to fucking like feed the fox, and
Mm.
this was like 4 in the morning, man, or something like that. I'd just been in like town or something like the catty or something like that. Wrecked out my mind, try to feed this fox, and I was getting this bin that I couldn't really see in. My hand was just in this bin. There's probably like junkie needles and tampons and used condoms and all that in there. But
Mm.
I was grabbing shit, and I was trying to like feed it, and it actually was like getting interested. It was like coming over to me a wee bit, and then later I realised that the bin that I had my hand in was for dog shit. It
Oh,
was like one
oh
of those.
God.
It was one of those bins just for like people, dog walkers or whatever, to fuck their dog shit in. So I had been rummaging through bags of dog shit, man, trying to find like food for this fox. in the so
Oh,
there's that's bad. But the worst thing was that like this fox was probably getting his hopes up that I was going to like whip out some sort of like Happy Meal or something like that, and all I had was fucking bags of dog shit for it. Oh my god!
oh my God! At least it was all closed within bags. I don't
I
think you're. I don't think you've ever told me that story. That's fucking grotesque.
I
I got a wee bit distracted there because I don't know if you heard on the other side, but the riffraff came back and disturbed me when they were supposed to be
I
gone.
have you seen
But
the? Did you ever see that video where the guys like there's a guy doing a conference call or something for his like I don't think is it a news interview, and
mm,
he's talking and then his nanny, the kid bursts in and like the little walker, and then
mm.
a second child comes in, and then the nanny like bursts through the door like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger in the fucking I don't know some film or something like that.
Wasn't he a nanny though? That it was his wife.
Oh,
There was an outburst of rage because people assumed it was the nanny because uh,
that's right, because
uh, uh,
she was of
she was
ethnic
she was
origin.
she was of ethnic origins, aye, and he was on he was on again in the news like last year, I think it was. People were just like, "Oh, it's our favorite, like our favorite interviewee, our favorite like guy to be interviewed to be back." It was just him again, and people were just praying that the same thing was going to happen. That was like a legendary moment. But I think also the people assumed it was a nanny because like the way she bursts in like, this sort of like desperation. Like you could almost sense like this please forgive me, like kind of coming through, like, oh please forgive me, and
I,
she basically grabs one of the kids by the fucking nose and pulls it out like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
some that's like a good point because if it was just like his wife, someone of his equal, some would say a wife is never equal, but um, like say it's just a wife and she would come in and maybe even make a joke of it and maybe wave to the camera or something like that rather than like bursting through, like
I I
if
think
if she
go,
was
go for
his
it.
wife, if she was his wife, like wasn't an ordinary couple. Like he's definitely like bought her off a website or something like that. It would seem. Uh,
Or I found her in some village someplace, but I think that's true. Like if obviously you've made it's kind of like the whole thing, like you had one job to do, and it was to leave me, or like leave this time to be completely without like disturbance in 5 minutes, or not, like obviously not even 5 minutes because these interviews are only 5 minutes long. 30 seconds into the interview, you get these toddlers strolling in like la di da di do, and
you
it's
failed to
funny
look.
in and the entire nation like loved that, and then of course came the jokes and the myth and the conspiracy that he was doing it in his underwear. That's like he had a full suit above the bollocks, so that's pretty funny.
Aye. But that's
It's like
a running joke for more. Obviously, more people are doing like Zoom meetings and all that now, working from home and all that. But people say that all the time, like, "Oh, you get a shirt on, you're just sitting there." But there was somebody, a woman, like was doing an interview the past few couple of months, and in our bookshelf behind her, there was like a giant dildo. All right, but we were saying like she's probably just put that there to like this is where it's getting like that guy was he was like the one of the first people to kind of do that, which was funny. But now you're just like,
authentic.
oh, aye, like he started the trend. But now
Mm.
you're like, somebody's like, oh, if I fucking stick a dildo on my shelf, maybe I'll get like a following or something like that, some publicity for a week until it runs out. My 5 minutes of fame, 15 minutes of fame.
Aye, and then you could also get people that are like if they got books and stuff behind them, they can like start putting codes and shit. Like if they're a recurring person at like Fox News, they've got like codes like saying like KKK for life and all that, like that kind of shit.
Aye,
And only people that can break the code can read it, for the fans, you know.
aye.
But I it's kind of funny. Like I've always said that it's really stupid that like wearing suits and all that. As you know, I think I've got like a skin condition where wearing a shirt and tie makes me feel like I'm like gonna die at first. So bad. So I don't see why anybody ever wears that shit. I hate it so much. But
No.
so spring has sprung, as I say, and the fox, and then we
Mm.
learned something nice about the old you rummaging through literal dog shit to feed a fox is quite something.
It's probably not the worst. Not the first time I've dug through fucking trash, I'll tell you that.
But there's the bins in Glasgow in the streets, like at the
It,
centre.
this was a no, it was back in Blantyre, and it was just like like
Oh,
a lamppost with a bin on it, kind of thing. Like,
I
um,
know, I know the kind.
you know what I'm talking about, and it was just in the park.
People are so bad here. Obviously, know what there's a huge portion of the people that don't do this, but see the amount of dog shit here, man. Oh my god, in the streets, so
Mm,
it's so bad. I've always said when the snow melts, the dog shit cometh. You just see all you see all the shit that's been lingering there, like,
mm.
and then you're gonna get now that spring the snow's melted, you're gonna get all the masks. I was saying also like when this is all said and done, future like generations. If when it comes like thousands of years from now, we're like the Romans to the next like civilization, or if aliens come, they're just going to look down and be like, look at these masks. That is it bad for masks in the streets out there? Like, and do you know if there's many people fucking away the masks in the streets?
It's
Really
not.
bad here. Like,
I mean, it's you see them lying around and shit, but it's not fucking. You're not tripping over them or anything like that. You know, some even
well,
like at entrances and all that, like to like flats and closes and shit like that. But
I don't understand it, but I was saying like an alien race someday is going to come down and it's going to be like um, instead of uh, like text chiseled into stone and stuff, it's just going to be
mm.
empty cans of relentless in mass and stuff, and it's got like, who are these cans? These grotesque beasts, these beasts.
Aye. But the shit, the dog shit thing, like it's been funny though. Like you think when the ice melted, it's like fucking like the stone, the ice age. Like you got like fossilized shit, like 100-year-old fucking bit of shit there, like from an ancient
Uh,
dog.
this poop came from a labradoodle or some fucking some posh dog.
A
We're
labradoodle.
we're, we're talking about like saber tooth cats and all that, and these people are going to be talking about fucking labradoodles and pugs and shit.
You know. Well,
What kind of dog do you have, by the way? Sorry to cut you off there. What kind of dog did you recently give birth
oh,
to?
yeah, she squeezed her right out my ass. She is a Cavapoo. Like so that's like Cavalier and like toy poodle she is, but there's different variations, man. There's like fucking hundreds of different variations. I seen,
Mm.
I saw like one when I was trying to like narrow down what she was. There was like fucking like a dog called an Ewok poodle or some shit. Like it was like a, which
All
was
right.
quite cool. But anyway, so she's a Cavapoo, and I always joke that stroke build a bear. Remember that shop? You'd go and build a bear and customize your little bear.
Oh,
If you
oh,
pay
aye,
if you pay a little more, they'll fucking bring that bear to life. That's what happened
aye.
with Holly. Oh man, like she's just a little teddy bear. But I this is
Insert photo here for the Patreons. We don't have any
yes.
Patreons, by the way, but that's just a joke.
And there's a dollar, and you get to wank over my dog. But
Yeah.
I was going to like we'll fucking touch on the old dog. So of my 6 kids in our family, like 5 siblings, I am the last one not to have a human child. So I need to catch up and stop firing blanks. It's no easy task, especially when you're so into anal. But but
You know, it does feel good, mate.
but there is I'm now learning a bit of responsibility. Like having a fucking puppy is like a child in a way, but they don't really get like they're just easy after a certain like after like a month or two. That's pretty much smooth sailing. Um, but
There's also like an unspeakable amount of with children. I mean, no dogs. Like there's the easy part, just like watching them grow and like facilitating growth and stuff like that, and then there's like, oh God, like how do I organize primary school? How does it like get organized? Can I choose where they go? Is the location like forced upon me? Like because there's all
Aye.
these issues and all that, and then it gets complex and well,
Aye.
what I put Joey need to do is fucking
Well,
stick some glue to its arse and watch it fart.
I just duct tape the dog's arse and genitals, and then there you go. But it's
But
interesting.
you go for it.
It's interesting because, like, like you're saying, like there's so much more, fucking in depth to raising a child. Like, what school they go to, what other pupils and types of people are going to influence the child, like good or bad. Who's got who's got to try and fuck my little boy or daughter in the school in fucking first or second year in high school, or earlier if you're from fucking Mexico or some shit. But whereas like now, like doggy daycares, right? So Amelia's, or nurseries and stuff like that. Your kid goes to doggy daycare and all that.
What?
Sorry, what did I say? Your kid goes to doggy daycare. No, sorry. Holly started doggy daycare, right? So so it's similar to your daughter's going to nursery daycare for humans. Okay, just to clarify that she's not been sent to the kennel. But Holly's been started this. See, this is where it's getting confusing. Holly's getting sent to a doggy daycare, and it's like they'll be like, oh, oh, she had a great day. Oh, lots of humping and all that. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, can you stop that? And then like Hannah's like, oh well, a lot of the dogs they've been neutered. Like imagine that. Like imagine that was humans, and you're like, they're like, oh, they're all fucking each other, but don't worry, they've had the snip and they've been this and that. Like it's like a problem you don't have with human dogs. It's just like, oh, just let them do it, kind of thing. But she's not been neutered yet, but that's her choice. Let her decide.
Well, there was that. There was that. What was it called? The fake academic papers that. Do you remember the dog park rape culture that these people like pretended to like James Lindsay and Helen Puckrose and fuck, I forgot the other guy's name. Like these scientific types, these academics, they made like a fake paper
I remember.
saying that there's like a rape culture inside dog parks, and people actually believed it, and people that are all of them that wanted that to be true. They jumped on it like, look, there's a rape culture because these dogs are raping others, and the black dogs are discriminated against by the other dogs, and all that kind of horseshit. But the yes.
Oh no, I was going to say, imagine, like dog. Who are the people that are like go out and catch dogs? Those that they put the fucking big pole with the net thing around their neck and shit. Just imagine black dogs are like getting that done to them far more than like white dogs.
Oh, that'd be funny. Just walking around looking for there's a perfectly tied up dog and stuff that's waiting for its owner outside like an Asda or some shit like that, and it just gets bagged and tagged and neutered on the spot.
I just minding its own business, and minding its own business, man gets like just huckled and fucking dragged out in front of his family and all
that. Funny.
The peer review thing, wasn't it? Like they were showing anything really could be peer reviewed and then ultimately published, and that was like a big problem. Like any bullshit like study.
There's a problem with peer review, but then there's also my laptop's on. There's the issue like the bias inside the academia. Like there's bias, so the people that review the papers, if they like the sound of it, then they'll just give it the go ahead, like, oh, that sounds good, like because I have this preconceived notion that this is this like kind of correlates with my worldview, and so I want it to be true. Therefore, I'll put it forward to be published by like a science magazine or some shit like this. But and uh, there was a bunch of other funny ones. There's funny ones regarding like animals and stuff. But
Aye.
who am I to say? I'm just
Packages. Before we move on for the old dog talk, there's a few fucking. There was actually a couple of things I was going to mention regarding dogs. This on this episode. Well, firstly, see when we're talking about the dog shit, there's nothing like so. I've been picking up like dog shit in the garden, and because she's still young, she's not really doing it in the street, right? So that's fine. She kind of waits. She waits till she gets back and does it in the garden. That's good because I think there's like nothing like so like is degrading, man. Is like seeing fucking a human picking up dog shit in the street. Like it's just, I just hate it. So obviously I'll do it, but it's just like, man, what the fuck? But we'll wait until fucking like cause I work all day and stuff. I'll do it every other day or like every 3 days or something like that, and I'll do it at night or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, Holly's been busy, fucking like it's like there's a minefield of dog shit. So you're picking it up and all that. But talking about like young dogs and old dogs and stuff, obviously Baxter, our family dog, who's still with us to this day. For how long we don't know, but hopefully it's another couple of years. Aye, he used to always like shit and point his like arse at the bush, like stick his bum right in the fucking bush and then just shit in there. Even
like a toilet.
I just like go into the bushes and do it, and I'm like, well, that's good because I'm not, who would ever climb into a bush and pick up shit? There's no need for that. So that was always handy. But that son of a bitch always had fucking diarrhea as well, man, because
I was about to say he often had the old diarrhea, so he just splatted that stuff in the rain, just lets that flow. But
what are you supposed to do, man? When you're supposed to do with dog fucking diarrhea splatting all over the place, you can't pick that shit up, Pardon the pun.
I had a mind numbing beginning of a conversation with Rabbi recently about something to do with picking up dog shit, but I won't even waste your fucking brain cells on that one. But it's a funny topic that's circulated, came full circle with that one. But I think even if you're luckily you've got a small, she's pretty small. Like, can you imagine a German Shepherd or one of these massive bull mastiffs?
Oh man, fucking Scooby Doo, a Great Dane or something like that. She's tiny, which is good because like I don't have the fucking time nor the will or the ambition to walk like say a collie or something like that, like hyperactive dogs that need fucking time and training and walking and shit like that. I'm happy with a little fucking lap dog that just sits in your knee and licks your fucking neck and your ears for and shit. But no, but it's fun. It's fun taking her out and all that. A funny wee story that for the other day was, so I took my skateboard and there's like a nice little like foresty trail down the road, but there's a really smooth path for a good while. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll take my skateboard and then I'll just like roll on the skateboard with her on the lead next to me. That's all good. So obviously this was our first time and we trial kind of thing, and it was a lovely day and shit, pure breeze and nice sunshine. So jump on the skateboard, start to kind of roll along. She's next to me, and it's gone well. There's like some people walking past and shit, and they're kind of like, it's like this, hey, oh, you're kind of breezing through. Holly's looking up at me, I'm looking down at her. It's like, it's like, what? This is a fucking new era of fun we're going to have. This is amazing. But as it was so smooth, I started to pick up a fair bit of speed, and then I was looking down at her for too long, and then I realised that the board had like the direction kind of went to an angle, and I was like approaching this big bit of like dirt and grass. So like fucking I'm flying along. I look in front of me, hit the fucking grass. I go flying through the air, land like on my back, and my legs are in there and shit. Holly's I've like dropped the leash. She's fucking like dawdling along, like what the hell is happening? I'm on my back, and shit. I look back and there's this couple looking they see me whizzing past, and they must have been like, check that dick. And then literally 5 seconds later, I'm pure on my arse. And the dog's like, she came back, which was funny, but I heard them laughing as well. And I got up and actually did it kind of nobly. I was just like, did you enjoy that? And just kind of got back on board and carried on, man. But that was something else, I'll tell you. That was quite embarrassing. But trial and error, eh?
It's not worse than being public humiliation, man.
Public
so bad.
Oh,
That's
shit.
not. It's not. At least she never like squashed her neck. Killed the fucking rat.
Imagine that. Like I've had like the leash like wrapped around my wrist or something like that, and I fell like down a hill into a river or something. Or drag her to hell with me. That
Can you imagine that'd be diabolic. Can you imagine you'd tell Hannah if she came back to work or something like, "Oh, I'm sorry, against all your objections and your advice, I took her for a joint skateboard run, and I yanked her when I fell and snapped her neck instantly, and she's dead." Can you imagine that? Who was one of our friends of old? Like, this is a little bit different, but people just know being careful with animals. Like his first dealings with death, like they had a kitten in the back garden, and they were all playing with the kitten, and like the mum, I think it was the ma, our mutual friend, like and just like stepped on the kitten, and like just like did that like a fucking ketchup bottle, man. So that's a little bit different, but if people, you know what I mean, like in the movies for like the 80s and shit and 90s, like the women that would be on the roller skates and doing like the what's the beach, like Los Angeles or something like that, like these beaches with the roller skates. I was taking the dog in the leash like some asshole.
I remember when I said to Hannah that I was going to do it, she was like, "Is that safe?" And I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Safe? What's unsafe about that?" And then 5 minutes later or whatever later on, I've decked it, and then I never told her. Actually, it's a good thing she's not interested in this podcast. But so I came back and like my hands were all like gravel and shit and like scraped and all that, and I'm here like hiding it and fucking washing my hands. Like, oh, it went fine. She loved it. But man, lesson learned that shit.
Aye, it's funny she's not interested in this this podcast, so you can tell about that near accident, yeah, and you could talk about the gonorrhea as well, but that's a different different episode.
Oh yeah, I'll save that one. The old gonorrhea. Goner.
That's gone and dusted.
I know.
I don't even know. It's gonorrhea when they need to put the old umbrella in your jab eye.
Oh, I have no idea, man. Worst.
I met one guy that had, like, he apparently, so he had to get like the umbrella, like the closed umbrella as it were, like pushed it down his urethra, and then the umbrella gets opened, and then then they pull the opened umbrella with all like the gangrene dick destroyer like out of the old dick hole.
Oh fuck! How did he?
And the funny thing is, he must have been like 25 or something at the time. Oh no, sorry, probably a little bit younger than that. But he got it off like at some lassie's like 19th birthday party or some shit. Like a really young person gave him like severe gonorrhea. Like no, like a 50-year-old person that's experienced at gathering gonorrhea through decades. Just a really young person that had like an extreme gonorrhea. Like, I don't know. I'm not speaking to her personality or her lifestyle choices, but she had maximum capacity gonorrhea.
Oh man.
The way he told us was like very casual, as if it was a literal thing of the past. He was fine. So that was pretty funny.
You know, there's always that wee story, the Mark Norman story, and he's like, he was like mega sick and went to the doctors, had no clue what he had, and then they're like, I can't remember what it was called, but the doctor's like, oh, it's this. Oh, you get it from eating fecal matter,
Oh, yeah, baby.
from eating feces. I'm like, what?
Well, but that's an interesting thing because it's you could just be like a really excited guy, well, like an old female, if such a thing exists anymore. But and it's easier for a guy to separate where he pisses and where he shits, but it's more difficult for a woman to separate, like to make a border. You know, this isn't Mexico and the US here. So if a guy happened to be a bit excited, let's say, he could easily eat a bit of fecal matter and get a lot of diseases from that, you know.
Oh, aye, that's true. And I see what you mean now. I was a wee bit confused by that there, but I totally get it now. Yeah.
It's like whereas a lassie, she's not gonna be, you know, chewing an old popsicle and then suddenly start eating shit, you know.
You're at an Italian restaurant, like having some fucking abrigata, whatever the fuck it's called, and then later that night you're having chocolate mousse for dessert.
Oh, aye, for sure.
Oh yeah, man.
If it was Mark Norman telling that story as well, since he's a drinker, so he's probably fucked up drunk, and you know when you're really drunk, shit tastes like cake. So he's probably just going for it.
Salty caramel.
Why not? This episode's going dark, man. Well,
I know.
Not really.
I know. Get a wee bit of feedback here.
Oh well, fuck it. Well, trying to keep myself sane and whatnot, you know. Can you hear me? Aye.
Yeah, man.
So just make sure, because if you're having feedback and any technical issues, like I told you, I found a way to basically unfollow everybody on Facebook. So I hate Facebook and I hate using it, so I unfollowed everybody on Facebook. No ill will to any individuals on Facebook, but it's good to be rid of the newsfeed and stuff. But quite funny. The last person I added was our sister Ashley, and for some reason, I guess you need to have like one follow on Facebook.
All right.
Like you need to, like it has to show you somebody on Facebook, I think, because it's otherwise it just comes up like error message. So I'm lucky enough to have her as the only person I can see on Facebook. So, you know, and I think we both know how much I love that shit. So,
if there was one person to have the show you in the newsfeed, yes, that's certainly up there with the ultimate
productivity and really good for my old mental health. But that's pretty good. I was funny just googling like how to not see like people on Facebook, and it's no individual people, like I said. It's just I hate using it, and I don't really use it half as much as other people, but it's kind of good just like clicking on it and nothing comes up, but then you can just choose to follow like organizations or like offers that you like or bands that you like or whatever, rather than people. I like to also when you see that people again, like you actually have something to talk about, because I'm like a sage monk at the moment. I don't know anything about anybody's life, so it's kind of cool. And they can tell me all about it if they ever see me again, which I don't care if they do. That's a joke.
No, but you're right, man. There's something about it. Like I deleted the app on my phone, and then I found like I was like opening my phone, and then my fingers were still scrolling about looking for the Facebook app. Like I'd forgotten, like I hadn't forgotten that it wasn't there, but my brain and my fingers were still in the habit of like searching for it. And it was as if my fingers had a life of their own, like even though it was like typing about and searching for it, and then like my fingers talking to each other saying like, where's the Facebook app? Like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
The phantom hand.
The pincer comes to the pincer fucking comes to my throat, try to fucking kill me.
Yeah. But if you imagine like when they first made Facebook, the features were different, and then they add these features to get your attention and keep you addicted to it, and like so you access it more frequently. And the like button, they don't have a dislike button, do they? No, they don't have dislike, but that kind of shit. It's like they added these things to keep you there. And I'm not like one of these anti like technology type people, but I think it's a net negative for life. And it's quite funny because I noticed that more and more people are starting to deactivate their accounts. And it seems like when you get to this point and you realize that it's like a literal waste of life to live on social media. And unfortunately, like some people might not realize until they've already wasted like a whole lot of time. Whereas before we made this podcast, I didn't go on Facebook at all. I even had this like wee bio thing. I still have it. It says don't use this because it's like brain damage or whatever. So I don't use it. But some people they might waste like 5-10 years of their life like talking to people in the comment section is like, oh my god, it's
big
diabolic.
And if you see, if you meet somebody and you're like, oh no, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on that, I'm not on social media. It's like kind of like how it used to be like 10-15 years ago or whatever. If you like met a vegan or something like that, or a fucking vegetarian, you're like oh surprise, like, oh you're vegetarian, But it's the exact same now. It's like, you're not on Facebook? What? Like, where have you been? Like, fucking, what do you do? What do your thumbs do? Like, what the fuck?
What can you do with your? How do you do things? And
Like,
it's
how do
true.
you check in online and things like that? Oh. But,
It's like alcohol as well. Like we kind of collectively know that like alcohol is not a particularly good thing for the body and the soul, but it's a bit strange when you meet people that don't drink. Like, like, oh, you don't drink alcohol, really?
I know.
Have you ever met anybody that's never drank in their life, but they're like fucking 30 or over? That's a rare person. I've
Never.
met two.
Two.
Never even tried it.
Never.
Or maybe tried it once when they were really young and then never tried it again. I've met two.
Surely I have. Surely, but I probably removed them from my life immediately.
It's spat their name behind their back. Those people, they're on the right path. Although, not to get into it too much at all, but in terms of the old alcohol and stuff, I'm just having a nice casual break. I'm not saying I'm quitting for life, but I definitely feel my best when I'm having a long break from booze. And when I go back to it, it's like saying so long to the productive version of me that's been around for a few months or whatever. Like, hey, bye. I'm gonna go back to like fucking the gutter. Bye.
Back to ruining my life and feeling like a waste of fucking time. But
the hangover.
The paradox is that when I'm not drinking, and the better I start to feel, the more I want to drink. So like, so as I feel better as the weeks go on and not drinking alcohol, I end up like the urge to drink because I'm like feeling like the top of my game. I'm like, I could totally just go a fucking drink and tap dance for somebody and stuff like that, and get some jokes and stuff like that. And then you drink, and then you're back to zero again, minus fucking 5, never mind 0 actually, and you just feel like a bag of tits once again.
And the sad thing is, like, when you're, say you have like 4 beers, like you legitimately get to like you're like more confident and better in many ways and stuff. You're rolling with the punches. You feel good. You're zinging and zanging. But then, like if you're like us and you keep taking it too far, it just goes to shit very fast. And this is not messages to say like anti-alcohol and stuff. It's for some people and not for others. I like the old booze, especially like I mentioned earlier. The spring has sprung, and you see the blue skies and the green forest. I just want to take the hammock and get like 20 beers and sit next to the water. That's how it goes.
I know.
And not to go too deep in your bollocks here, but like Nietzsche, the philosopher guy.
Oh yes.
I don't think he was just. I'm saying he's a philosopher just for simplicity's sake, but like he one of the things he said was like people should just never drink, and mostly because it's like it solves problems in the way that for the moment it solves your problems. Like if you're feeling depressed or down about something, drink, it'll make you feel better. That kind of stuff. Like whereas he believed that you should suffer a little bit in life and then create resilience. So it was like preventing yourself the opportunity to like suffer and get better. And then Homer Simpson, a different philosopher from The Simpsons, he said, "Alcohol, the cause and the solution of all life's problems." So there you go.
Aye. Old Homer, a more relevant philosopher.
That's a reference folk will get. But I think there's something to that. Like, and then obviously, booze is just a thing about society loves. Like, you getting married? Let's drink. Oh, did someone die? Let's drink. Did you have a birthday? Let's drink. Oh, did you get fired? Let's drink. Like, so there's always a reason. But anyway, fuck this. Fuck the booze. I'll have a can tonight. Fuck it. I'm after wagon, man.
Fuck it, man. Have 10.
That's the best thing. Like about so many good memories. Like playing Dragon Ball Z and shit like that. Playing video games and with some beers and all these things of the old teenage life. But as the saying goes, what is it? There's nothing else to blame for the good old days than a bad memory. Like things are never as good as they seemed in the past, you know.
Profound.
Nostalgia is the enemy of the people. You know what I'm saying, man? Speaking of Dragon Ball Z, I hear something funny.
Hey, hit me, bitch.
Oh, so I was sucking my own dick last night, and I was in work, and this older lady that she worked in a different group, so like a different age group with children. If anyone knows, you can usually find me working with children these days, and she's telling me about herself, just the small talk kind of shit, and she's like. This was about, I'm trying to remember how the conversation started. Oh, that was it. So she started singing Barney. I love you, you love me, and I was like, oh, and I was like, the kids these days, do they still dig the old Barney? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh fuck it, I thought he was long gone, that pedo dinosaur, and never said that to her. She's like, yeah. She's like, my daughters, they grew up loving it. Yeah, my daughters love it. One of them's a tranny. But and she's like, and when they got a bit older, they started to watch a thing called Dragon Ball Z. And she looked at me, she's like, do you know Dragon Ball Z? And I was like, I was wearing like these joggy bottom, these black joggies, because I like to be comfortable when suffering in work. So I'm wearing these black joggies. I wasn't really thinking of the context. I just like kind of pulled down my joggies. I didn't say I know what Dragon Ball Z is. Look at this. I just did this in response to her words. Pulled down my fucking joggies and like basically never pull my dick out. Like I'm wearing Dragon Ball Z boxers. So I whip out these boxers, and I didn't exactly have time to prepare to show these boxers. So like. My skin's flapping about and all that, and like I'm just, and it's the symbol for like it's like the kami symbol and shit. The orange boxers are the kami symbol. I don't know, just because our kids watch Dragon Ball Z, she probably just knows like the hair of a Super Saiyan. She probably doesn't get orange and shit. And I'm like, yeah, Dragon Ball Z, man. And she like kind of just like looks away and continues working. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I was like hashtag me too. Hashtag me too, is it? And I fucking never spoke to her again, but that was a profound moment for that.
You like pull out your balls and you're like, Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, these balls, baby. Yeah, I've got 2 balls and a dragon here.
Dragon Ball Jizz. You and your jizz riddled boxers.
There was a few stains on Goku's face, I'll tell you that.
That's quite spooky, by the way, because I think I was wearing my Dragon Ball Z boxers like just last week or something, and noticed that the rim on them like it said Dragon Ball Z. I never noticed it before. I think I was in the toilet and then I was like, I thought in my head it'd be funny if somebody like was talking about Dragon Ball Z and I just like showed them my boxers. I swear to God,
Aye,
Mickey man.
that is quite fucked up. I think like that's twice it's happened basically. I've been wearing Dragon Ball Z. The other time, I've got two pairs of Dragon Ball Z boxers. I didn't buy these boxers; they were gifts. But if I saw them cheap enough, I'd buy them anyway. But somebody else was like, "Oh, Dragon Ball Z," and I like showed a little bit of the boxers, a little bit of pubes, and it's funny that you can just wear. I think if you own these sorts of like trivia type pop culture things that you can walk around with, like wear them just in case, because it's a funny conversation starter or expansion of conversation. If you just somebody happens to bring up Dragon Ball Z or bring up like Pokemon, like I've got Pokemon socks and shit. I got Simpsons socks. Again, I never purchased any of this, but I have them. I wear them.
Yes.
That's what. That's the also like being 30 is like you want people to buy. You don't remember when we were like 14 and stuff. Someone buy Christmas socks and boxers, and you like look at it like fucking cheap bastard. And then even though we had no money to speak of, these days I'm just like socks and boxers, please.
Oh yeah, man, big time. And if you're lucky, they'll be Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, aye, with a good quality.
Mm.
Yeah. So
That's
that
good.
happened.
That is good. I meant to ask you about like, what was it? Just about this fuck all to do with socks or boxers. It was about drive-throughs. Is there drive-throughs in surely there is in Finland. There must be drive-throughs like McDonald's and all that. Because
Oh, big time.
I've never seen like a. Well, I've been there. I have been there a few times. It's like all metro and it's all shopping centres. So like, I've never seen like an actual like fucking McDonald's branch where you can like go in and drive through and shit. So you do get them over there, aye?
Aye, man, there's just the same. And speaking of drive-throughs, they are talking about like a drive-through vote. See for like the parliament, or I don't know if they call it parliament here. Like driving through for like your vote to vote for something like the
Oh,
election to drive through and vote for the best cheeseburger. I don't know, but
Christ.
it's just the same. I thought it was pretty hilarious when the old pandemic hit and like how busy drive-throughs got. I mean, how pathetic do you need to be to like wait in these lines for a McDonald's? It's like, oh my
That,
god, man!
that's funny.
You're one of those disgusting, gross-headed beasts.
I just got to say the story I'm about to tell you is about going to a drive-through. So I am one of
Well,
these pathetic, disgusting insects that
go
you.
for it. Go
Um,
for it, you insect.
but no, before I do, but it would be funny like if since the drive-throughs and all, it's like oh McDonald's is closed, you need to go to drive-through. So you're trying to get like kids are trying to get their driving license and all that like sooner than they normally do it, so they can drive through McDonald's and get their fucking Big Macs. But I was at the drive-throughs are quite like I don't go to them often to be fair, like only like in emergencies, you know, like if I forgot my fucking spear and can't catch a fucking deer or fox or something like that. But oh, the car parks in these places are like totally like closed off and they're all like kind of really tightly uh, constructed. So like the cones and stuff direct you in like this really fucking narrow queue. It's quite dire, man. It's really fucking diabolic. So I'm in this queue for the drive-through, and there comes to a point where like two cars are coming and one person has to let the other person go, kind of thing. So you know, I'm about to go, and I noticed for a while actually that there's two like girls in a car behind me. And they're all like laughing and all that amongst themselves or whatever. They're only like laughing fucking at me or anything like that, I don't know, but um, so we're about to go, and I didn't cut them off. Like I just went first, and this like passenger that was in this car, man, right? Let's just say she was no stranger to McDonald's. She looked like she might have had a bedroom in one of these McDonald's for quickness. See when I cut in front of them, man. See the look this lassie gave me. It was just like pure, like this like diabolic. She just stared me down, man, as I like drove in ahead of them because I was going to get
Oh
my
man.
first man. This lassie like drew me the ultimate dagger. She wanted me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, you'll get your burger. You're in the car, man. Wait a minute, you're not gonna die.
Did you not get a wee honk? No, wee honky. She didn't
No,
give you a wee honk,
no, because
honky tonk.
that was a funny thing because the driver was on the other side, and the driver was obviously cool, and it would be the driver that would honk normally in any sort of uh, instance like that. Like it's always a driver.
Aye.
It'd be funny if she honked the fuck. See if she like reached over in desperation for her meal and like started honking. That would be fucking hilarious.
No.
I got absolutely
Chicken nuggets! Chicken nuggets!
She just picks up the fucking. She just picks up the car and launches it. That would be funny. But that was a wee.
When was this anyway?
It was
Recently?
it was like a couple of weeks ago, man. It was fucking.
I was referring to like when I was calling these people pathetic and stuff. Obviously, I'm just joking around, but I was talking about like when things restrictions started to come, and it was everything was quite new, and it was like, okay, you just need to lay off the old McDonald's, everybody, and there might be drive-through available, and then before you know it, like that, like the line is endless, and it's just for me, it's I don't understand it, but
I know.
Right. Sorry to interrupt you there, Fatty, but it'd be funny. Did you ever watch Black Mirror? Oh, this is going to be like a throw with maybe an empty pool here.
That was one of like all the different like futuristic sci-fi shit. It was like kind of dark. No.
It's like social commentary type kind of TV show. It's episodic, so every is it the word? Every episode is different. It's usually not non-related episodes, episodic. But there's the one episode where it's like human beings have this thing implanted into their brain, so they record everything and they can like rewatch their days, their moments as far back as they want, so long as the thing is implanted. So in that world, you could like you could go home and like have your chicken nuggets in front of you, a wee beer, and like rewatch the moment she looked at you and just laugh at it. That'd be funny. You could put it on the TV. In fact, in this TV show, like
I know exactly what you're talking about. Or like it'd be even funnier. And I'm looking back when I'm eating them in my car, and I can see a reflection in the background. She's fucking like in the background.
You see things you didn't notice it in that moment, but you see the reflection of her, like just the silhouette, like her standing there, like freaky as fuck. But
eating a bird raw from a tree.
She can't get a chicken nugget, so she's getting a pigeon nugget.
Pigeon nugget, yeah.
Pigeon nuggets.
I know.
Pigeon nugget, and I think in terms of as far as time goes, I think we'll have to wrap up there.
A few other things we could have ranted on about, but we'll get some more stories on the go. Older stories of old and more laughs and misery.
I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like I could continue, but I don't know when that door's gonna burst down, and I'm just gonna hear "Daddy," and I'm gonna be like, "Oh God!" It could be 5 minutes from now. It could be 50 minutes from now. I don't really know.
Better call it short than that happening, and then it's harder. But I need to urinate anyway. It's been a while.
Go and
I know.
We're having some technical difficulties this episode.
I know. Many problems. Speaking of GoPro.
You need to insert the old. Since your fucking computer was these days, you can insert a picture of Goku later. Yeah. And also a picture of gonorrhea.
Oh, I'll make sure to get my own pictures of my own gonorrhea tonight. But
shit.
Until next time, we'll make it happen again.
See you all later.
Bye.